So here we've got the KEIHIN PWK 38S stock carburetor for the 2000 KX250. And it looks like several other bikes while I was looking at this thing. So we got the rebuild kit is it here, it's arrived, and a jet kit with a whole bunch of different mains and pilots. Gonna make this thing look awesome. Let's do it. So next we just push this little pin out. Comes right out of there. Set that on our clean rag. And we take the float out. Give her a little shake. I don't hear any fuel. That's good. Who knows? We got our little float valve. Cool. So we got a kit. All this is going to be new, which is great. We're going to want to make sure this is nice and clean when we put it back together. We aren't going to want any debris that's going to keep that thing leaking fuel into the bowl and over fueling. So, cool. So we took the two little screws out of the top of the cover. It's going to be under a little bit of spring tension. Pull up your throttle sensor and it'll all come out at once. You've got your plunger, spring, your needle pops off of there, and you can get your needle out of here just like that. It just sits in a little groove. Cool. Drop everything. We take a socket. And then that's where the jet needle sits. And we can pop that out. And we just want to be sure what groove we put that little C-clip back in to this needle or the new needle. Always remember that. And we've got the main jet. I'm going to take a slotted screwdriver and get the pilot out. There he is. Awesome. And we're almost there. With our air mixer screw right here, we want to take note of how many turns until it bottoms out. So, quarter, half, 3/4, 1, and a quarter. There it is, in like a 45 degrees. So, quarter and 45. 1 1/4 and 45 degrees. We're going to need that information later. So let's write that down and then pull this thing apart. We've got the spring. We've got a little tiny C-clip and an O-ring. Alright. Okay, so now we're going to take out this little screw holding the wiring harness, holding the bracket for this little wiring harness. For the power jet solenoid. Now we've got our choke. That thing is worn out. And we've got a air mix, or the idle adjuster and spring here. Next we're going to take off the throttle sensor here, position sensor. It's got little tamper-proof Torx. I got the hole in the end of the socket. Bring those home from work because they don't live at home. There we go. And we can do some checks on this too. Some resistance checks. And then this we just apply voltage to with test leads and make sure that it does its plunging. Then we take out the little power jet. It sits right in here. I had to give it a little tiny bit of persuasion. This one did not want to come out. But a little light tap with your slotted screwdriver and it just freed it up in the threads a little bit. There. It's a beautiful thing. Awesome. Okay, here we go. We got the carburetor all cleaned up. Ultrasonic cleaner does an amazing job. Everything looks wonderful. Got our new kit. The all balls. Got together main jet 160 168. That's different. Okay. $52. $50. Alright, manual time. Got the carburetor specifications charts for the L1, L2, L3, L4. 125 up here, 250. I have a 2000. Slow jet, 52, 45 in the EU, 52. Oh, shit. 50, yeah. This was 52. Okay. They run a 50 on the L3. Okay. Well, 50's in the kit. I've got other ones here, but not from as trusted a source. Okay, I'm gonna run this kit and see what happens, and I'll change it if I have to. Got a 52 came out of it, a 50. Alright, then we got a new power valve. Power jet, 55. Cool. Alright, like I said, if we have any issues, we got options. Okay, cool. Now, this power jet was the hardest thing to get out or get apart on the whole carburetor. These threads were shit. Cleaned them up. I think we're gonna have a lot better luck. I hope. Okay, so next we're gonna put in the air mix screw. We got our spring, and then we've got our little tiny washer. This little guy. Slide that guy on. O-ring, and then we are going to pop it in. Bottom this thing out. Okay. And then we were in, when we took this thing apart, 1 full turn. So let's get it in. Half, 1 1/4, and then at 45 degrees I had added to it. So we'll sit around there and see what happens. And then get our idle adjust, shove that in there, and we can play with that when we get it running. Alright, so here we've got the original, or the jet needle that was in it anyway, and our little circlips on the third groove. As far as the manual says, for this model, 3rd groove is correct. So we're going to grab our new one, 3rd clip, 3rd groove. Okay, so that's in. Now let's put that down in here. So that guy goes. Then this piece will sit in top of here. But first we want to take our cable and run it through the top cap. Put the gasket on this first. Anyway, bloop, spring, plastic piece goes down in here. So we're going to take cable, and that through there. We'll take our cable holder, that in there. And I guess we don't have to do that yet. Goes down in. Perfect. Cable. That down in there. And then let this slide in the groove and bottom out. There we go. Okay, so next I want to get this float height nailed right on the money when we assemble it the first time. So float, okay, new needle valve, and the pin. But first, our manual has float height at 6.5 plus or minus a millimeter. That is a measurement from the base of where the bowl the mating surface for the bowl, the base, to the top of the float when it's installed. So basically, your measurement from the very top of this to the base here, you want your 6.5, which is hard to kind of set, especially with the float in there. So what I'm going to do is measure 6.5 and mark the actual carburetor housing. Right around there. So now when we put our bowl in, we can gauge it by that dot. So we're going to take our new float valve, and this sits this way. There. So this just slides onto this little metal tab. And by bending that tab, you can lower or raise the position of the float. So carefully get this all the seat in. There we go. We can take our pin. Awesome. So now it's 60 degrees. I just got 60 degrees marked out here, roughly. That's pretty cool. So I'm sitting there-ish. So we're a little high right now. Okay. I'm going to bring this down so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm just eyeballing this at the 60 degrees, and as I move it, you can see that float lower and raise. So you notice it's just a little higher than my dot, if you can see that. I would like to lower this just for fun, just to see how much movement of that tab gets us where we want to be. Even though it's pretty freaking close right there, we're going to try and zone it right in. Okay, so we're going to take this essentially okay. Nice and careful if you can. Now slight little push on there, just the slightest little touch. I'll pop this back in. See where that put us. Okay, so I think that went the wrong way. So that was down. So let's go the other way. That's my old plunger. Okay. So I went down. So I'm going to go up. That's quite a bit. Back second. Tip it over. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. So here we're just going to pop in our new gasket, new screws, and pop the bowl on. Gasket, they fit, but they don't, that's not amazing. I'm not going to say 5 stars on that fitment, but it works, goes in. So drop that guy in. And I'm actually going to have to take 2 of these out to put in my little brackets for my hoses. So we will have to do that. Oops. So I just used pictures from when I took it apart to see where these were. I think that's pretty close. Now I got our nice new choke. I'm going to pop this in. Beautiful. Let's get this throttle valve in. So I slid the throttle position sensor in here. They're little tamper-proof screws. Dokey. Good to go. So now we're going to take our assembly we made earlier up. Pull the throttle sensor arm back. That roller is going to roll on top of that throttle valve. Let that pop in. Make sure our gasket's in place. Awesome. Grab our new screws here. Super nice. We're not going to use those ones. Power jet solenoid. There, that's in. So we're almost there. We gotta throw this O-ring on this cap. Pop that in. Cap on. Perfect. So this thing's all back together. Got to get the vent tubes on it now, and I think there's a bracket for that right there. Cool. See, here we have her, all back together, ready to go on. A few more things left, and this thing will be having some fun.